Well, hey there, happy day 836 of What You Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here at your service, talking about and sharing, mostly talking about, but sharing my journey from the offline brick and mortar world to the online world. About, I guess it's been 3 years ago now, I started this journey, a little over 3 years. It was in 2017. I decided as part of my divorce and transition that I was going to finally hop online and explore this online world, the internet, business online versus brick and mortar business. I'd spent 47 years. I had my first business when I was 13, but 47 years in the offline brick and mortar world of business. On the side, well, I was doing over a quarter century in corporate America, working for some of the coolest, biggest corporations on the planet now. They've actually become some of the biggest companies in the world. And then some smaller ones and some family-owned, all different size organizations. As well as running, about 27 different industries, 27 different businesses I have been involved in over those 47 years. And some of them were awesome and really fun and exciting to be involved in. Others were very painful and very hard to be involved in. Not because they're difficult, challenging businesses. Once you understand the foundations of business, business is very basic at the foundation. It's we human beings that make it super duper complicated. And I don't think there was anybody better than me about taking a simple business and making it freaking complicated when it didn't have to be. So I think as I've gotten older, one of the biggest lessons I've learned is how to keep things simple. Build on a solid, simple foundation, just like when you build a house. I was involved in real estate with my ex-husband for a lot of years, and if your house is built on a non-solid or bad foundation, or if the foundation is sinking. We had a cabin that was in a really marshy area where streams ran through, and it was always sinking, and so every few years it had to be jacked up so that it wouldn't sink actually into the lake or into the marsh around the cabin. And that just happens. I mean, there's different things, and if you don't build on a solid foundation, everybody on the other side of the lake, they didn't have any trouble with their foundations, but the whole marshy side of the lake, every couple of years, people had to have their cabins jacked up. Sometimes we have to jack ourselves up, right? So I call this one O because today is day 3 of a 5-day Get Up and Go challenge that I'm doing. Did the 30-day Get Up and Go challenge in April. Now I'm shortening that up and just really giving people the meat of that, super quick, super easy, and then rolling them into either the longer version of that, the 30-day, or a longer term coaching program, a coaching and consulting program, depending on where they are in their life and their business and what they specifically need. Now, of course, the shorter 30-day program will be part of the annual coaching program, so they kind of go together. So it's not like I'm creating 2 totally different things and a ton of more work for myself and my team. It's what I'm creating for what people need right now. I am involved in a, morning throat. I am involved in a group on branding because I'm rebranding. I think I mentioned that I wanted to kill off Pajama Grandma, but with the COVID virus, it just doesn't seem quite appropriate. I don't really want to kill her off because that is me. I am Pajama Grandma. That is a part of my persona. And when I first came online, that was my choice in my lifestyle, and I was trying to show people that offline businesses, by having an online component, can have a more relaxed, less stressful lifestyle. You can do what you want, when you want, where you want, with whomever you want, wearing whatever you want, was kind of my whole point. And some people got it, and I loved working with them. Some people didn't, especially my family. That's okay too, though. But as we ran into COVID and hit COVID, it just seemed like it was time for me to step up and stop focusing on helping people to supersize their business and grow their business by adding that online component, and realize that right now, in order to save your business, you have got to have an online or automated or remote type of component to your business in order to survive. I think going forward, this, if nothing else, has really set that idea in stone for people in terms of understanding that they have got to have a way to serve people, even if they can't physically serve people in the traditional ways that they always have. If nothing else, this is a huge wake-up call for us to realize that life changes, things go on. I mean, I don't know, one of my most dreaded and hated phrases and sayings in corporate America and in business, in any business, because we still hear it all the time, is, well, that's the way we've always done it. That's just the way we do it here. That's the way we like to do it, or whatever. And I always hated that, because it meant we set this up for us because it's always to our advantage as the company, right? And we're not going to change it. Or that's the way we do it here, or that's our policy, or that's our procedure. Well, guess what? Everybody's policies, procedures, and standards and ways of doing things have been exploded with the COVID virus. Whether your business is shut down right now, whether you're working on serving people in any way, shape, or form that you can, or whether, because you can do curbside delivery, things like that, or curbside pickup, or you are going gangbusters because maybe you're manufacturing a product you've never manufactured before, because it's a product that's so in demand. The government has said, hey, if you can make face masks, if you can make hand sanitizer, we need you to do that. I have an uncle who, he and a group of his friends started a distillery, and now, a while, just actually probably a month or so ago now, they transitioned that distillery. They stopped making whiskey, and all they're making is hand sanitizer. They switched gears, and they're making hand sanitizer. They didn't have procedures and processes for making hand sanitizer. They had to figure it out, but they knew that that was something that people needed right now a lot more than they needed whiskey, right? Another whiskey. There's lots of whiskeys out there. So whether you're doing that or, and going gangbusters, doing something, everybody has got to be looking at what we're doing, how we're doing it, why we're doing it. Do we even want to do it anymore? Does it make sense? I gotta believe there are a lot of luxury brands and a lot of luxury items that people are rethinking and rethinking how they use their resources. Whenever there's a health event, whenever you personally have a health scare, you reevaluate and reset your priorities. We are kind of globally reevaluating and resetting our priorities. And I personally will say, shame on the politicians and the people that are pushing their own negative agendas that are to enrich themselves but not enrich and help the world and make the world a better place. They know who they are. If we're smart, we know who they are too, because we're watching their antics and their behavior. I think certain politicians, I think the media, I think people that are putting their own personal agenda first, or trying to, work the system to their own advantage and in ways that harm other people. I hope that you're paying attention and noticing that. And, if you're listening to me, you probably are, because you know that I'm not watching the media. I'm not letting other people think for me, and I urge you to not let other people think for you either. If you are, and to reevaluate our own personal patterns and habits. I'm doing, as part of this group, I think I started talking about this group that I'm a part of, that it's a mastermind and accountability group and things. And we actually met yesterday for our first accountability meeting that was like over 2 hours. And the problem with that was I didn't know it was going to be over 2 hours, and I have my own challenge that I'm doing right now, and I actually had to cut out a couple minutes early and say, hey, I've got a challenge going on right now. I need to go get ready for that. So yesterday I learned that doing a live challenge, you need a little bit more than 5 minutes to get your setup turned on and get rocking and rolling if you want to not feel nervous or a little bit off about that. And it went fine, but of course I never talk about the things I really want to talk about and the structure and the things I want to have in it when I'm rushed like that. So today is O, the letter O, which is why I called this O for the challenge today. And it's all about options. Options, whenever we have a challenge, sometimes we believe that we don't have any options. There's a lot of business owners, there's a lot of people right now that are freaking out and don't think that they have options. But it's when we stop and we realize and we focus on really what's going on right this very minute that we open ourselves up to seeing all the possibilities and all the options that there are out there. As much as the world has changed, there are so many opportunities and so many options that are open up to all of us right now that would never normally be open up to us, that we need to be able to see them and ask for help and look for the opportunities for each and every one of us, because they are there. If you believe that they aren't, if you're closed down and you're freaking out and you're worried and doubtful and fearful and you don't know how you're going to make ends meet, you keep focusing on that, what we focus on, what we think about is what we create in our lives. We need to create and focus on what we want to create and how we want things to be, not how they maybe are right now. Hey, I want a nice hot cup of coffee. My coffee's cold right now. Am I going to freak out about that, or am I going to go microwave it, right? Am I going to look for the solution, or am I going to focus on the problem? As soon as we switch from focusing on this problem, once you know what the problem is, you need to immediately go into solution mode. And that means you start to open up your mind and see all of the possibilities and all of the different ways that you could solve a particular problem. I like to take it one problem at a time. If I am having challenges with my health, that's going to take precedence. That's going to be first. Why? Because if we don't have our physical health, if we don't have our energy, we can't do anything else in the world. We can't make the things we want to have happen if we don't have our physical health, our well-being, and our stamina to make that happen. So we're going to take care of that first. Then we're going to take care of whatever is important to us on our own personal priority basis. But now is a great time to reevaluate and look at those priorities. So today is day 3 of the 5-day challenge, and it'll probably be 10 days by the time I do bonus days on it. But for right now, the solid content is 5 days, because I am trying to make sure I keep things simple and really basic, and just here's the foundation. If you got this foundation, you have everything you need. Guess what? You already have everything you need inside of you. It's just that things get in our way, and sometimes we just need to hear it again and again and again and again until it clicks. How often have you been in a situation where somebody's talking and you're like, oh, I've heard that before. I know that I've heard that 1,000 times. And then you ask yourself, well, yeah, I've heard it 1,000 times, but am I actually doing it? We've heard it 1,000 times. There isn't anyone on this planet that doesn't know how to improve their health, feel better, and take better care of themselves. We all know, right? We've been told these things for however old we are. And it's just a matter of, yeah, we've heard it all before, but are we actually doing it? And I catch myself in that. I will be listening to speakers and things nowadays, especially now. And I'm in a read 30 books in 30-day challenge. And what you start to see is that there's so many common threads throughout every book, every speaker, every YouTube video, everything you see, you start to see it. And instead of getting numb to it, I'm trying to actually, on purpose, ask myself, well, yeah, I've heard that before, but am I actually doing it in my life? Here's a personal example. I just started redoing, because I'm auditing my habits this week as part of my accountability, re-listening to, and I did it last week, on my phone, I have recorded affirmations. And I used to listen to them every morning, and I stopped doing it as I was moving and things. And so last week I realized I really miss that. I need those messages in my own voice to listen to every day. So I started re-listening to those. And it helps my mindset. And guess what? The first thing that's going to go if we're not sick and in the hospital is our mindset, right? Because we're going to get stressed out. We're going to let the negative news and the energy from all the other people around us impact us if we let our guard down, and if we're not feeding our mind the positive things and listening to and watching things that make us feel good. I don't know anybody that is watching, and I saw this with my sisters this weekend. We went up to the cabin. 3 of us went up to the cabin, and we had a snowstorm, which was weird, for Mother's Day. And we just sat up there and hung out with each other and relaxed, ordered takeout food and things, and just had a nice, beautiful watching the snow time and watching some movies. We had like some movie-a-thons, which was interesting. I'm sitting there working, and we're all watching movies. But I realized, and even they said, they notice when they're watching the news, and they watch, the news that's right for them, they feel worse and get all upset. I don't know anybody, no matter what news station or media or site you're getting your information from about the COVID virus, that makes you feel better. I've watched, and people might think I'm crazy, but I have watched one task force meeting in the whole time during the pandemic, and I have done about 3 searches about what's going on in my state. So I know what's going on, what we can and cannot do, where we can and cannot go, and what to expect, because I'm staying out of businesses. For this last weekend, for the first time in a month and a half, and actually the week before I went to the store with my son, but otherwise I haven't been in a store. And we stopped at 3 places on Saturday, up north, and I went into one. I went into the grocery store, but I didn't go into the Caribou Coffee. I didn't go into where else did we stop? Hardware store or something. And I just waited in the car, and then I did go into the grocery store because I wanted to pick up this really good bread they have up north that my granddaughter loves. So we're changing, we're doing things differently. Fun challenge today was day 127, and it was about, what was it about? I can't remember now. Anyway, fun challenge, 365 day, do one fun thing every day. It was an Alice in Wonderland quote. Oh, how are you different today than yesterday? Whoa, that's a can of worms, right? All of us can say, this is how I'm different today than yesterday. I might ask that on social media because I think that's an awesome question. You know, what has, and focusing on what has changed for the better in your life since COVID-19. Because I don't know about you, but I'm focusing on all the things I can do, all the things that are better. I'm focusing on the present moment and the future, looking toward the future, not dwelling on it, but knowing and having and maintaining my vision of the future and doing what I can do right now every day to move me toward that. And that's what we all need to be doing. Focus on what we can change, not what we can't. Focus on the present more, and then moving toward the future, but not dwelling in the past or focusing so much on the future that we're not paying attention to today. And then look for the things that we are better off because of, not worse off because of. Again, the biggest for me is I focus on what I can do, not on what I can do. My favorite sayings is do what you can with what you've got right now and continually move every single day toward what it is that you want. Whether it's whatever it is that you want. If you take a little step toward it every day, all of a sudden you have it, and you're like, because you would have been living your days anyway. You know, it's like the older person that goes to college, and they're like, you're in your 80s, why would you go to college and get a college degree? Well, I was going to live those 4 years anyway. Why not live those 4 years, learn something new, and now I'm qualified and I'm in this position to explore and learn and do and contribute in ways that I never would have had I not done that. I still was going to probably get 4 years older unless I passed away, but I didn't. So now not only am I 4 years older, but I'm 4 years wiser and 4 years better, and I've got this degree or whatever it is that you want. Maybe you want to travel, maybe whatever it is. So that's it. That's what I've got going on today. I just heard about yesterday that Dean Graciosi and Tony Robbins are doing a 7-day challenge for KBB, and I'm sure they're leading into their bigger programs in their mastermind program, KBB, because that's the one they've got together. And I joined that when it was in the beta testing. I don't even know when. Last year? Year before? Anyway, and it's one of those things I joined because I love them, and I really haven't done much with it. It's kind of like ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson. I've been in that for 3 years, and now I bought his last big package of stuff right at the beginning of COVID with the release of the Traffic Secrets book, and I had it up for a couple weeks, and I didn't have the time and energy because my business is one that's online, and we're rocking and rolling, so I haven't had the time to look at that. Now I'm going to go in, and there's 3 audiobooks in there. I'm in this 30 days for 30 books in 30 days challenge, and for me, magnifying glass, it's definitely been a challenge and a push, but it's been a really positive one because it's a skill set that I wanted to achieve and wanted to learn, and that's why I do challenges, is because I want to learn a skill set. So they've got a challenge starting today that I'm going to do for 7 days because I love them, and because I want a couple of my team members to do it, and I want a couple of the people I coach to listen to it so that they're hearing similar things that I've been telling them, but they're not acting on them, just to hear them in a different way, to see if that doesn't be the thing that gives them the aha breakthrough, and they're like, oh yeah, guess I've been hearing that, but I'm not actually doing it. And I'm sure that I will catch a couple things like that for me, because every time I listen to Tony, and almost every time I listen to Dean as well, I hear something new. I've been following Tony Robbins for like 40 years. Maybe not quite 40, but just about 40, because I discovered him in the hospital in his early days when I first started getting sick and having health challenges in my life. So have an awesome day. If I can help you in any way, ask in the comments below. I'm all about ask, and even if I don't know the answer, I guarantee I will help you get hooked up with the result, not with the result, but with the resource that can help you. It's all about being resourceful right now. None of us have all the resources we need right now at our fingertips, but we do have all the resourcefulness that we need within us at any given time. We just have to tap into it and ask ourselves the question and ask other people the question, because part of what we need to do to be resourceful is ask for help. Ask people, well, how did you do this? How would you do this? This is my problem. I'm looking for solutions. Can you point me in the right direction? All right, have an amazing day. I will, of course, be with you tomorrow.